Hello, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple, customized weekly planner setup for someone who is brand new to planning. My sister has recently gotten interested in having a planner because she's been seeing me do it. And because she's brand new to it, I definitely wanted to help her set one up and get started. I know all the pitfalls she might fall into because she's a lot like me. And because she has ADHD, she has a lot of kids, and she's um, somebody who probably will struggle with giving up on things when she makes mistakes or it's something she forgets about for a little while because she got too busy. And I want her to have a successful year. And so I took all of that into account when I was setting this planner up for her. Plus, I asked her a whole lot of questions. So this notebook is an Archer and Olive A5. It's their robin design that they had out as part of their Black Friday launch this year. And it's got just a few less pages than their normal notebook. And so that meant I didn't have a lot of real estate to work with. Um, and so I had to be really mindful of that as I was setting this up. I also wanted to give her some space where she still had room to play and discover her own style and things she wanted to do. So before I get into what I ended up doing, I'm going to show you just some of the questions that I asked her. What are the things she wanted in her planner, like a key, an index, habit trackers, future log, chore tracker, reminder, um, something with the dopamine menu or idea list like I've seen going around. And if she wanted to have yearly, monthly, quarterly, or weekly planning for her goals, what kind of planning pages she wanted, like a monthly, weekly, daily sort of layout, just all these questions. And I also asked her sort of like what colors she liked. She did like blue. It's only crossed out because at first I thought she would only want blue, but then it turns out she wanted a lot of colors. She just doesn't want orange or neon green. I didn't spell this right because it's just no, but she wants it to be feminine. She likes florals, watercolors, seasonal landscapes, woodland, fantasy, peaceful. Um, and then one of the things we talked about is that a lot of the things that she wants to do aren't necessarily what she was going to do in this planner. Um, we're also going to get a bullet journal going for her, but in a very cheap notebook at first. I'm going to give this to her along with it. It's just a pen and gear notebook that is a dot grid, and I use this myself. And she said she wanted it to be something that was disposable, something that she didn't have to worry about keeping as like a memento so she could play in it. So I got her this for a lot of her bullet journal, task lists, habit trackers, chore charts, all those kinds of things. So she and I are going to play with that more. And I also got her some Energel pens to start with until she figures out what pen she likes, simply because that's what I used in setting up this planner for her. Then, um, as far as like the decor, I didn't put much in here, just a few pieces of color and a couple little designs, because she sent me a picture the other day of some washi tape and sticker books that she had purchased. And so I wanted to give her plenty of room to use her purchases and things that she picked out for herself. One of the things that she really liked about my planner was that I had a contract to myself that was my agreement that I pledged to help keep me going in my bullet journal last year. I'll show you that in a minute too. So one of the things I loved about this notebook is the silver embossing. So I wanted to kind of carry on with that a little bit in this book. And I've been really curious about embossing in a notebook. So this is embossed. That's her name. Let's see. You can catch kind of the, oh, there we go. So that metallic gleam there. So I did emboss this with embossing powder and a heat gun. And I knew there was a chance that it could wrinkle the page, but I decided to try it and it did wrinkle it, but then it just laid back flat again. So that was a great experiment and it turned out really well. Then she's got some more room where she can add some things here if she wants to, like some stickers or I don't know, phone number, address if she's going to carry it around and whatever she wants to do. And then I'll talk about this in a minute. This is just the 2025 cover page that I did. It's on that page that most people would kind of glue or get rid of because it's just funny, but I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of pages in this notebook for what I had planned. So I went ahead and used it for the cover page. And as you can see by the sparkle, I embossed this too. This was a little sticker label that I had and I embossed on top of this. So it wasn't as tricky or risky as embossing straight on the notebook paper because if it failed, I could just do it on another one. But as you can see, it turned out really pretty. And since she liked florals, I decided to just go with this simple little floral motif here around the banner. Now, this is the contract to myself that I designed. In my first journal, I hand wrote it, but I wanted it to look nice for her. And so I created this in Canva and then printed it onto sticker paper. And I'm going to try really hard to make this accessible to anybody on my channel who wants to print one for themselves. It's actually going to have 2 on a page, just an 8.5 by 11 sticker paper, but you could print it on regular paper too. And that way you can have it for 2 different journals or just discard one or give it to somebody else. The leaves and the little flower bed here I colored in with these same markers that I used to do this motif here so it would coordinate better. And I use these Ohuhu brush tip markers, so it's got a brush tip and a fine liner. And I use the colors 87, 82, 99, which this has become my absolute favorite color to do greenery. And it just doesn't look like it would be that fabulous of a color, but it is lovely. It looks the most realistic color of green, I think, versus like an animation or artsy, not real to life color of green, if that makes sense. So I really like this color. And then I used 83 for pops of some darker blue. Then I also used this Ohuhu dual tip dot pen, which I just got these and I really like them. This is the metallic silver. And I also used this light pink color to do these flowers here. So those are the markers that I use if you were interested. When I give this to her, there's a place here where she can sign this contract. And it says, I will allow this journal to be messy, have mistakes, grow, and change. I will not abandon it, even if I forget it and put it down for a time. If it is incomplete and imperfect, it will still be beautiful and have value, so I will treasure it. Okay, and so this is, oh, I was just going to show you. This is the other half of the page that I printed that I cut this out of. So I just trimmed really close to this black line. So I'm going to put this one in my journal later. Okay, she did want a future log. She wasn't interested in having a year at a glance with all the calendar pages. She didn't think she would use it, and since we don't have a lot of pages, I just left it off. She's got a wall calendar that she uses for her whole family. So I decided to use for my colors these these highlighters by Mr. Pen, and it's in their Morandi color line, which is my favorite sort of color scheme lately. Just these sort of muted colors that have a little bit of gray tones to them, so they're really soft and mellow. And then I just alternated by quarters here. So that's a double page spread with the weekends highlighted so she can keep track of where those are. And then I didn't know exactly how she wanted to do her yearly goals and intentions. And so I just started with a header. And then when I visit with her, I will coach her through designing this as one of her first layouts that she will do on her own. Then I went ahead and set up, since my weekly pages don't have any room for a monthly calendar or monthly review or setup or task list or anything like that. Just because of when I counted the pages, I knew I wouldn't have room for that. And so I set up these pages where she can put down monthly goals, and from that she can kind of come up with the tasks and things that she wants to do or focus on for the month. And I think it works really great because she wasn't that interested in using quarterly goals, but the way this layout is done, they are together by quarters. And so she can go ahead and in the future, if she wants to kind of think about it on more of a quarterly basis as well, she can. She can use that to sort of pace herself through her goals across the year. And then I left some more blank pages for her. Although this is one thing we did talk about, was having something about dopamine, little things that you can do when you need dopamine instead of unhealthy habits like scrolling on your phone. And so I just put dose of dopamine, and so she can write down some ideas or put some pictures or stickers or different things here to remind her of things she can do to give her that shot of dopamine. More blank pages just so that she has some room to play and plan. And then this is the start of her weekly pages. This is the first week of the year. And as soon as I'm done recording this, I'm going to rush it to her house because it is the first right now and it is getting late in the evening. And so I want her to be able to use this from the first day. What she really wanted and prioritized was she wanted a place where she could do what I did last year, where I wrote one story from every day as sort of a micro journaling exercise. And so that's what this is. So this page is a little bit funky because it's not a full week. And so she has this room up here to play and decorate and do that sort of thing. But this is what the full weekly layout looks like across the whole book. So when I was counting pages, I knew that to get 52 weeks in here, technically 53 pages, like page spreads, that I had to start by this point in the book so that I would have room for all the other ones. And so it's worked out perfectly, and I'll show you that back at the minute in a minute. But so I came up with this design where she just has a little bit of space for every day of the week on one page. And I asked her if she wanted me to have this be a notes section or to just leave it open to whatever. And she wanted it to be flexible. So it's just going to be this little open box. And maybe she'll drop a sticker in here or some extra little thought or memory that she has, or whatever she wants to use that for. Maybe it will be notes. And I really like using the line of the script as sort of the header line to section off the different days. And I loved using my new A5 ruler from Archer and Olive because it has the little groove to mark the middle of the pages and the 5mm dot grid measurements. And so it was really easy to measure this out and put this up every day. So here are her 7 sections where she can add in her story of the day. and a section here where she can add a quote or whatever she wants to, which she said she was interested in like having a quote every week. Okay, so was this tedious to set up? Of course it was, but it was a labor of love. And honestly, the worst part of doing this is going to be driving to her house at night because it is freezing cold outside. And so I did learn quickly kind of how to get it moving very, very fast so that it really didn't take me all that long to put it together. Um, so the months are coordinated to the same colors that they were in at the beginning. And when a week changed, or when a month changed in the middle of a week, this is how I would handle it, where I would just show the month change by color. Um, and then just move on. And I actually really love this because it kind of drives me crazy when a planner is separated into months and then weeks, and then you end up with some days from one month sectioned off with another month. And there's no other real way to get around it. But with this setup, you're just moving week to week to week, and but you still see the change of month happening as you get through it. So this just goes all the way through the year. And then I thought I would show you how I set it up pretty quickly for the last day. And I had kind of penciled in, this was the first day I set up the days. And then I realized there are only 4 more days left in December. So I'm not going to need these bottom ones. But I'm going to do that really quickly and show you how I did that. Oh, I was going to say, when I did this border at the top, I was tempted to not take it all the way to the top of the page, but then I would just end up with this sort of like uneven and awkward little white space. So I just took it all the way to the top. And I'm really glad that I did. And I don't know that this will show up on camera at all, but I ended up having these little beautiful rainbow striations along the top here, and I think that's just a fun little pretty thing, and I sort of love it. So that was a fun surprise to notice. So when I was doing a new page, and sometimes I would do these just in whole sections, but I had to be really careful that I didn't get off on the counting when I was setting up my days, because oof, see, I'm smearing it. Oh, by me making little smudges and mistakes in here, I've already set it up so she doesn't have a perfect planner, so she doesn't have to worry about messing it up. But the first thing I would do would be, I would kind of make these guidelines for myself, and then I would highlight this top section. And I do it pretty quickly because I think it helps the markers to not smudge as much, or to not to get the funky lines, but they still do. And now that I'm doing this on camera, I'm doing it really badly. But one thing I've noticed is if I kind of smudge it with my fingers, while it's still really wet, it kind of can get rid of those really obvious lines that you can get. And then I would go down here. There's a little smudge there from the pen when I first drew it out. So just ignore that. I might white it out later. But one thing I did notice is that this Archer and Olive paper definitely does not smudge as badly as the Exceed notebook that I got, that I used last year, and that was really nice. And of course, a lot of that was helped probably because I've switched to the Energels by Pentel, which are quick drying, and the flare tips did not tend to be as quick drying as I needed them to be. Okay, and then to quickly, because I didn't have the days written out on all the pages, that would have taken forever and been pointless. So what I would do is I would pull the page back just a little bit, and I would just use this as a marker to indicate where the lines needed to be on this page. And then I would simply write the days out. And I got to where it didn't take me very long. And of course, now that I'm doing it on camera, it's not going to go quite as well as it did on other days. But you know, that's just what we get for showing you something live. One thing that I did need to remember to do was to make sure that the day started far enough across that I had plenty of room to go in and write the days in. So I'm going to go ahead and finish out these days since I have the room for it, even though she doesn't need it. And then she can just have the days in January that she can use. So just a quick peek to double check. So the last date was the 27th. And so I'm going to start with the 28th and just write them here in this space. And then go ahead and put my January days in here, just so she has that whole week. And so then I would write the dates up at the top in the header, and that would be that page done. So you see, it didn't really take that long to write all those dates in and the days of the week. I could have used stickers, but that would have really bulked this planner up, and I didn't want to do that. And so I just went ahead and did this, and I got to where it was really fast, so it didn't take me much time at all. So I don't know if this is something that would work for you, but for some of you out there, it might be, you know, sort of a fun thing to play with, to just have a weekly layout with a little bit of micro journaling. And it's a good way to make really good use of the pages that are in this Archer and Olive novel. As you see, I have a smudge of silver here, and it looks like a smudge of black ink. So she's not going to have to worry about making her own little smudges. Luckily, this one kind of gets hidden behind the bookmark. Um, but anyway, as you are setting up your planners and getting started for this year, I hope maybe this gave you some inspiration or ideas on something you can try. And I hope that you will subscribe and keep coming back to my channel, because we're going to do a lot of fun things this year. I've got a lot of other planners and notebooks that I'm setting up for myself. And for now, I'm going to hurry off and go out into the cold, dark January night and deliver this to my sister's hands so she can get started planning for the year. We'll see you later. Enjoy the rest of your day.